Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day. One could watch this and think that you really hate Sean Combs.
If Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time.
Gotta ask you, Janice Combs, how you feel about her? I mean, they alleging that she was, having freak-off.
I spoke to a man, Mr. Brown, who used to go to the freak-offs, and he knew Miss Combs, and he knew about her and her freak-offs and everything like that. We had always thought that she had a modeling agency, but it wasn't a modeling agency. It was more a brothel that she ran for high-profile drug dealers. And
50 Cent has announced that season 2 of his Diddy documentary, Sean Diddy Combs, The Reckoning, is on the way. And this time, the focus is shifting in an unexpected direction. Attention is reportedly turning toward Janice Combs, a figure many credit as a powerful influence behind the rise of bad boy entertainment. Adding to the intrigue, reports claim that certain footage did not make it into season 1, with suggestions that Netflix declined to include specific material in the final cut. Now, 50 Cent is said to be preparing to release that previously unseen content independently on YouTube, promising audiences access to elements of the story that were not included before.
Yeah, my mom's gorgeous. Hold on, let me introduce you to my mom, called Ma Dukes.
Hi.
She's getting a drip with me. She's hydrating. What's up, Ma?
Everything's good, baby. I'm here with you.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too.
It begins with Diddy's early life, which the documentary presents as the point where everything was set in motion. Own childhood friend Tim Patterson recalls that Sean Combs' father, described as a known Harlem street figure, was killed when Diddy was still very young. After his death, his mother, Janice Combs, assumed control, reshaping their home into a space marked by prominent gatherings and constant activity. According to the documentary's portrayal, it was within those rooms and at those gatherings that Diddy was first exposed to an adult world defined by power, influence, and reputation. The film suggests that people in the neighborhood were aware of the atmosphere surrounding those events and understood the kind of environment in which he was growing up.
The mom, she came out defending her son, man. How you feel about that? She made a comment saying that he's not a monster.
I guess this is my newfound career, so I'm going to say what on my mind and what I think, brother. First of all, that's his mother. Wrong, right, or indifferent, she going to lie, steal, kill, and protect her child. That's what she's supposed to do. But the apple don't fall far from the tree, man. You got to realize that. He didn't get all this from his daddy because he didn't know his daddy, even though they try to say his daddy was some big time drug dealer in the whole 9 yards. You understand? He didn't get this from his daddy. You got to realize, man, his mother had a modeling agency, and it was alleged that it was also ladies of the night, a prostitution ring too.
It begins with Diddy's early life, which the documentary presents as the moment the foundation was laid. Childhood friend Tim Patterson recounts that Sean Combs' father, described as a known Harlem street figure, was killed while Diddy was still very young. After his death, his mother, Janice Combs, took charge, turning their home into a setting defined by high-profile gatherings and constant activity. According to the documentary's depiction, it was inside those rooms and during those gatherings that Diddy first encountered an adult world shaped by power, influence, and reputation. The film further suggests that people in the neighborhood recognized the atmosphere surrounding those events and understood the environment in which he was being raised.
Remember when I said Diddy mother might be the originator of the freak-offs?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so tomorrow Peacock is dropping. According to the Rolling Stone, the doc features an alleged childhood friend of Puff's, hip-hop producer Tim Dog Patterson. He alleged that Janice, Diddy's mom, would often throw parties at Diddy's childhood home. He says that during the parties, it wasn't uncommon to walk into rooms where adults was having sex. I mean, that was just their normal. And the doc, when talking about the parties, Tim says, verbatim, That's what we were privy to. This was what we were fed.
The documentary's tone darkens as individuals close to Diddy describe what they believe was a calculated influence from his mother. The sources connected to the narrative, including claims attributed to Gene Deal, suggest that the dynamic between Diddy and Janice Combs made some outsiders uneasy, not simply because of closeness, but because of how intentional and formative it appeared. In that portrayal, Janice is depicted as doing more than raising her son. She is described as teaching him early lessons about attention, admiration, and control. Critics argue that those early influences did not fade over time, but instead became part of the foundation that later shaped his ascent within the music industry.
And was talking about that his mother could take her palms and bend over and put them down on the floor. Not bend over, but she could stand straight up and put her palms on the floor, bruh. He's saying that about his mother. Who describes any of their mother action like that in a sexual way? And then, you know, I don't know how many dudes do kiss their mother in their mouth when they 50, 60 years old or something like that. That's them, that's their whole thing, man. But that was a little kind of weird for me. And then his mother wore the same white fingernail polish that Cassie described that he liked to see her and other models in when she was describing her lawsuit. And what's crazy to me is that, man, it seemed like him and his mother had this, I don't want to get too deep, man, this Oedipus complex thing.
The patterns described in Diddy's early years are portrayed as evolving rather than disappearing as he grew older. The lavish parties he later became known for are often framed in these accounts, made as an extension of the environment he was exposed to in childhood, amplified by fame, wealth, and influence. Within this narrative, Janice Combs is depicted as aware rather than distant. Some eyewitnesses have claimed they saw her present at various events, described as remaining in the background while observing and, in their view, reinforcing the trajectory set years earlier. Whether interpreted as symbolic or strategic, that alleged presence is cited by critics as evidence that her influence did not end in his youth, but continued into adulthood, shaping the path he ultimately followed.
But why you believe she knew about the freakos?
Because one of the witnesses said she was there. And then you remember this, bro? Check it out. People tell off on themselves so much, man, and I don't understand when people don't catch it. Diddy has said this. He said, when I give a party, I have to have an ambulance outside of the house. Paramedics ready. That people have to take IVs. Remember the time that him and his mama kissed each other on the lips?
Yeah, I remember that video.
Do you remember that both of them was getting the IV at the same time?
Yeah, I did notice that, yep.
That's from the Diddy freak off party. And I'm going to say allegedly.
So let me ask you this. You knowing her at one point, you knowing her personally, is she the kind of person that, you know, will be a part of a freak off or no?
I think that she liked to party and she partied with young people. She's always been like that. She always copied or emulated Little Kim and Mary J. Blige. Or they emulated her. The blonde hair, the nails, the high boots, the age-appropriate, inappropriate clothes.
Gene Deal has stated that he always felt there was something unusual about the closeness between Diddy and his mother, Janice Combs. After Diddy's father passed away, the Deal claims Janice positioned him as the man of the house, placing significant responsibility on him at a very young age. In Deal's account, that bond did not simply remain strong. He suggests it became increasingly influential over time. He further alleges that Janice was deeply involved in Diddy's social environment and party culture, not merely observing, but actively guiding him. shaping his mindset and decisions in ways that, in his view, contributed to the path he later followed.
Relationship, whether it's physical or mental, with a mother and a son. So I'm looking at his mother and him on the couch, and both of them are getting IVs after one of the Diddy parties. Allegedly. I'm gonna say allegedly because I wasn't there and I didn't know, but they showed them both getting IVs on the couch. So my whole thing about this thing is that I'm not saying that she was ever at a freak off, she was ever at that type of party, but you can't tell me Miss Janice Combs, who was always at the regular parties, didn't know nothing about the freak off parties.
There's a certain kind of bond, whether physical, emotional, or psychological, that can exist between a mother and son, and this one has drawn attention from some observers. It has been alleged that after one of Diddy's parties, Janice Combs and Diddy were seen sitting together receiving IV treatments. This remains an unverified claim, and there is no first-hand confirmation presented here. Supporters and critics interpret such reports differently, but some argue that moments like that raise broader questions about how aware she may have been of the surrounding environment. At the same time, there is no verified evidence placing Janice Combs at any alleged freak-off events or directly linking her to that type of activity. What is being suggested in certain discussions is not direct involvement, but skepticism, questioning whether someone reportedly present around the general party scene would have been unaware of the culture and dynamics unfolding behind the scenes. These claims remain allegations and interpretations rather than established fact.
Or the situation where they say he was trying to shape Misa into his mother. Can you see that? Like,
yeah, with the blonde hair and yeah, and all of that. I mean, somebody
really
asked a question: what kind of man puts his hands on his mother? The same kind of man that parties with his mom, the same kind of man who kisses his mom in the mouth, the same kind of man who seems to have accurate knowledge that his elderly mother can put both of her hands, her palms, on the floor and while she's standing up, bent over.
Oh damn, I ain't seen that one. Oh.
You never seen the Instagram video where he was talking about how his mom is still young and spry and how she still liked the party and how they was getting a IV drip?
Oh. Damn.
And she was kissing him in the mouth on the video and he was like, yeah, my mom can bend over and touch the floor with her palms.
No.
It's a very, very, very weird relationship. It's weird.
Allegedly, Nakasi shared details about certain unsettling dynamics within the household, moments that left some people disturbed and uncertain about what they were witnessing. These accounts remain claims and have not been independently verified. In the narrative being discussed, Janice Combs' influence is portrayed as extending beyond parenting or family loyalty and into broader aspects of Diddy's life. Some descriptions reference unusual routines or traditions that reportedly surprised those around them. According to these portrayals, the overall atmosphere felt tightly controlled and difficult to ignore, an environment that critics argue may have influenced Diddy in ways outsiders cannot fully assess. These interpretations, however, are based on allegations rather than established findings.
So how you feel about, her? I mean, they alleging that she was, having freak-offs.
I spoke to a man, Mr. Brown, who used to go to the freak-offs. And this guy lives in Georgia right now. And he told me that he was a stick-up kid back in the day. And one time he had robbed one of their spots. And he went back and he had got the money and gave them their money back and everything like that. And he knew Miss Combs and he knew about her and her freak-offs and everything like that. We had always thought that she had a modeling agency, but it wasn't a modeling agency. It was more a brothel that she ran for high-profile drug dealers and athletes. you could tell by I could tell that Miss Combs at the time, and actually saw her like young guys. She came at me a couple of times back in my heyday, before the extra 75 pounds back then. And the reason I left Bad Boy wasn't only because of her advances, it's because I got tired of a lot of the bullshit with her.
According to the accounts being discussed, Diddy's early life was influenced by circumstances that extended beyond what many would consider typical childhood experiences. It is alleged that while he was still young, Janice Combs maintained an active social circle out of their home, with frequent gatherings and a steady flow of visitors. Those who claim to have observed it describe the situation as widely known within the neighborhood, though rarely addressed openly. Within that environment, the narrative suggests Diddy was not only surrounded by adults, but also exposed to the dynamics of organization, influence, and authority that his mother reportedly exercised. Critics argue that these early observations may have contributed to the way he later navigated power and structure within the music industry. These characterizations, however, remain based on accounts and interpretations rather than verified conclusions.
Ms. Combs is speaking out about the Netflix documentary, Sean Combs' The Reckoning. In a statement to Deadline, she said, "These inaccuracies regarding my son Sean's upbringing and family life are intentionally done to mislead viewers and to further harm our reputation." She also maintains she was not an abusive parent and says that Diddy never slapped her, as previously stated in the document.
Unsurprisingly, Janice Combs has reportedly expressed strong objections to the documentary and issued a statement rejecting the allegations. However, despite the seriousness of the claims, neither she nor Diddy has publicly announced legal action against 50 Cent or Netflix. That absence of litigation has become a talking point in itself. For some observers, the lack of a lawsuit invites speculation. Others caution that choosing not to pursue immediate legal action can stem from many factors, strategic, financial, or procedural, and does not automatically signal admission or avoidance. Still, critics argue that if the allegations were entirely unfounded, a courtroom challenge might seem like a direct way to confront them. And supporters counter that litigation can amplify attention and extend controversy. As a result, the silence has become part of the broader debate, interpreted differently depending on perspective.
You think it's Diddy, it's Janice Combs. Janice Combs is Bad Boy. Man, you don't actually sign to Diddy. His name is on the dotted line, but you actually sign it to Janice Combs.
Did he ever tell you why that is, or do you understand?
Now that I'm older, I know exactly what it is. It's a paper trail, so nothing can come bite me. If you come for me, you ain't coming for me. I ain't got nothing. You going to.
Janice Combs is portrayed in these discussions as the person who introduced Diddy to the fundamentals of business from an early stage. According to the claims being circulated, even as Diddy became the public face of Bad Boy, certain key assets were allegedly structured in ways that placed them under his mother's control. These assertions have not been independently verified. Interviews and footage highlighted by 50 Cent suggest that Janice acted as a financial gatekeeper for the label, described as someone adept at navigating crises, protecting assets, and guiding operations during difficult periods. Some insiders further claim that Diddy transferred important documents or interests to her not merely out of family loyalty, but as a strategic measure intended to safeguard wealth and create legal distance if the company faced scrutiny. Viewed through that lens, the narrative being presented is not only about a powerful artist at the forefront, but about an enterprise where, according to critics, significant control may have operated behind the scenes rather than in the spotlight. These characterizations remain part of ongoing allegations and interpretations rather than confirmed findings.
2000s and 2010s, Diddy was really prospering, music, business, fashion. And one of the things that he had said, what he alleged in the documentary, and again, this is an allegation from him, was that the name Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs's name was not really involved in that on the corporate side. And one of the things he's saying is the reason for that was to avoid having to pay any liability from, the devastating basketball game that had happened in the early 90s, where he was the subject of wrongful death lawsuits because of the multiple deaths that had occurred as a result of that basketball game that Diddy was behind organizing. So that was really, surprising to hear.
Yeah, that was a big allegation, because the families of the victims killed in that stampede, it was horrible. We're talking about December 28th, 1991. Combs, fellow rapper Heavy D, they hosted this charity basketball game. The game took place at the gymnasium of the City College of New York. And according to the New York Daily News, before the basketball game started, people who weren't let inside, they broke a window, swarmed toward the entrance of the gym, all went down a staircase. The doors at the bottom of those stairs opened towards the stairs, not towards the gym. So once a crowd got down there, they couldn't get the doors open and people started being crushed. 9 people died. Dozens of others were injured. And there were no criminal charges that were ever filed against anyone for the stampede, but multiple families and injured victims they filed.
So the question becomes, why would Janice hold significant ownership if Diddy was publicly seen as running the operation? Some observers point back to December 1991. Now, when Diddy organized a celebrity charity basketball event at City College of New York. Before the game began, overcrowding led to a tragic stampede that claimed 9 lives. Lawsuits were filed by victims' families in the aftermath, placing intense scrutiny on the event and those connected to it. For some critics, that incident may have underscored how quickly liability can follow public visibility, especially when a name is attached to large-scale events. Within that context, they argue, structuring assets under Janice's control could be interpreted not simply as a family arrangement, but as a protective measure, a way to separate personal or corporate wealth from potential legal exposure tied to fame and high-profile ventures. These interpretations remain part of broader discussions rather than confirmed strategic admissions.
That's City College. You understand? I was there. I was doing security. My team was supposed to have the outside. Puff came to me the day before we were supposed to do the job there and told me that Heavy D didn't want us to do the security outside. I had 18 men ready to do the security outside with my dogs like I always do. People knew how we used to roll. We would have the pits, the Rockwilders. You understand? We had that outside locked up. So anybody try to bum rush, anybody do that, we had the gates, the whole 9 yards. So we could stop all that. You know how people gonna get down in Harlem. You understand? So, and then when you got LL Cool J, you got Mike Tyson coming through there, and they coming through the front door so people see them. So they gonna go crazy. LL was the hottest thing out at that time. Mike Tyson was the hottest thing out at that time. They got all kinds of stars and people in there already. They was coming through the back. They came through the front. And it caused the door to be bum rushed. But if they had the gates up, if they had the dogs, and with the help of the police, that shit would have never happened, bro. That shit would have never happened. I was there, I saw it. I saw Jessica run down the steps after she grabbed the money box because my man Eddie was protecting her. And Eddie's the one called me on the walkie-talkie and said, yo, Jessica just locked me in outside the gym, Gene. You couldn't go down the steps after they bum rushed the door. You understand? I had to run around the whole gym on the outside, around the gym, down the steps, run across the basketball court and open the front door. When I opened that one door, because it pushed inside, people start squeezing through that. Then I just kept doing the doors and people was coming in there, falling dead, right out, just falling out right there. And once they got in there, they just fell out. It was crazy, bro. He just wanted us to do inside the gym to make sure that nobody, be over the celebrities like that. That's what he wanted my team to do. But most of the celebrities gonna have their own security anyway. You know what I'm saying? That was just a way to cut our security off anyway. So he cut the security and he got the FOIs, and the FOIs left their post, and that's how the people bum rushed the door and 9 people died by going down those corridors.
And you blame Diddy for that?
Yeah, I do. It's his fault.
According to Gene Deal, who says he witnessed the events firsthand, He believes responsibility for the tragedy rests with Diddy. Deal argues that security measures were insufficient, warnings were allegedly ignored, and the chaos that followed could have been prevented with stronger planning and oversight. In his view, the incident was not simply an unavoidable accident, but a failure of leadership and accountability. Others note that the event led to lawsuits and legal proceedings, and responsibility was examined through the courts at the time. Still, for many who reflect on the tragedy, it remains a stark reminder of the weight that comes with organizing large public events, and the serious consequences that can follow when crowd control and safety measures fall short.
And again, I know the freak-offs, that his son is there. Like, it seems like he likes to get down with his kids.
Yeah. But that wasn't all. Just to hear Little Rod say, like, the boys were around. Roger Bonds talked about the children as well. What kind of parenting relationship is that? But then again, that goes back to the conversation of Lori Harvey, Steve Harvey's daughter. It was all known that she was spotted in them streets with Justin, and then she was spotted in them streets with Diddy, and they all tried to sit there and pretend like that wasn't what it was. Like, I don't know if anybody has not noticed, but ever since Diddy got pinched, they've all been trying to pretend like all of the stuff that we've seen that happened, that they was all involved and didn't happen.
The closeness between Diddy and his mother was notable on its own. But what draws attention in these discussions are the patterns some observers believe resurfaced later in his life. As his influence expanded, critics argue that similar dynamics appeared in the way he structured and managed his own family environment, prompting both intrigue and concern among those following his rise. To some, it has seemed less like coincidence and more like repetition, early influences carrying forward, shaping relationships, boundaries, and authority in ways that became increasingly visible over time. These interpretations remain part of ongoing commentary rather than established conclusions.
Overnight, lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs trying to stop the release of a Netflix docuseries due out today.
We have to find somebody that'll work with us that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business.
The series contains never-before-seen footage of Combs debating strategy with his lawyers in the days leading up to his arrest in New York last year.
I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution.
It also includes video of Combs greeting fans in Harlem.
Off my back. I'm aware. As long as you wear, be with it. I'll accept it.
And then saying this about the interaction moments later.
I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got. I've been out in the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bath. Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with. Like that's what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like 150 hugs.
Now Combs' lawyers are demanding Netflix pull the series, threatening legal action, claiming Netflix is using stolen footage that was never authorized for release as part of what they call a shameful hit piece. The series is executive produced by Combs' longtime rival, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, and director Alex Stapleton, who said, quote, "We obtained the footage legally and have the necessary rights," end quote. Before the cease and desist demand was sent yesterday, Stapleton and Jackson sat down with our Robin Roberts to discuss the series.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
It's not personal.
The show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. Not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of it.
Everyone around Diddy is reportedly trying to shut down 50 Cent's documentary. And it has now escalated into a full-blown legal battle. Diddy has allegedly issued a cease and desist, labeling the project defamatory, misleading, and intentionally damaging. His legal team argues that the claims are unproven, exaggerated, and aimed at harming reputations rather than presenting verified facts. But here's the twist. This legal action didn't follow season 1. It intensified only after rumors began circulating about explosive revelations in season 2. And that timing alone has people questioning what could be coming next that made silence no longer an option.
Diddy Combs' sons Justin and Christian are teasing a new docuseries about their family. Justin and Christian King Combs appear in a new trailer released December 28th to Instagram by Zeus Network's founder. In the trailer, Justin and Christian sit on a couch in a screening room while a series of headlines about their father cycle on screen. At the end of the trailer, Justin's phone vibrates and he answers a collect call from the Fort Dix Federal Correctional Institute, where Combs is currently behind bars. No release date for the docuseries is given, though the teaser says viewers can expect it at some point in 2026. Combs shares Justin with ex-Misa Hilton and Christian with the late Kim Porter. The rapper is also dad to 34-year-old son Quincy and daughters Chance, 19, twins Delilah and Jesse, also 19, and Love, who is 3 years old. Combs was transferred to Fort Dix from the Metropolitan Detention Center in New York in late October after he was sentenced to 50 months in prison on prostitution-related convictions.
Zeus Network has a new Diddy documentary coming out, and this time it is coming from the perspective of Diddy and his sons. All the time I thought we were about to leave Diddy in 2025. Well, this documentary is coming in 2026. And a lot of people, just like myself, are already not feeling this new documentary coming from Diddy's sons. A lot of people aren't happy about it and actually shocked that the owner of Zeus Network, Lemmy, is doing this Diddy documentary. But what a lot of people fail to forget is Lemmy and Diddy have been friends for quite some time.
Of his children arriving in court for day one of their father's trial in New York, hands gripped in solidarity.
Do you still believe your dad's innocent? How did you feel hearing that testimony? Have you apologized on behalf of your father? Do you believe your father did it? Do you still convince your father? Your daddy got 4 years! Your daddy got 4 years for abusing women! That's wrong! You got worse!
The foes, the joy, the pain, our voice, the loyalty, the betrayal, the high, the love, the hate, the truth, the lies. And Diddy calling from Fort Dix.
This is a prepaid collect call from Federal Correctional Institution, Fort Dix.
When they released this trailer last night, there were so many comments to Lemmy and Zeus Network that they did not want to see this. A lot of people feel like this whole new documentary is just a PR narrative, once again being pushed by Diddy and his sons to try to clean up his image. And after hearing certain things on 50 Cent's Netflix documentary, we have to go back in time and remember what we were seeing during trial. Even when it came to Diddy's sons, Christian and Justin Combs, they both came on 2 separate occasions to trial wearing a free Sean Combs shirt. The first one to do this was Christian Combs during Jane's testimony, and you're not supposed to wear this stuff in front of a jury to try to sway their opinions. And the judge actually told him he had to leave and take it off. And then literally like a week later, Justin did the same exact thing. It was taken out of the courtroom by the judge. And we already saw the videos in the Netflix doc of Diddy talking to Justin, saying he needed to push out certain content to control a narrative. During the trial, there were a lot of things going on that I could see that to me felt like it was just straight PR. Do you remember all of these people that were wearing the free Diddy shirts? And it was actually a meme coin that's on their shirt.
50 Cent didn't waste a second reacting to the news of the new documentary. He addressed it directly, making his message unmistakably clear. He's ready and he isn't holding back. And the tone alone made it obvious what's coming next. Revelations the public hasn't seen, material he's been holding on to, and a clear signal that the next chapter won't be quiet, cautious, or restrained.
As expected, 50 Cent caught wind of it hitting the news, hitting the blogs, and being on the timeline yesterday that Diddy's sons, Sean and Justin, will be dropping a docuseries of their own to tell their side of the story, their experiences, and how they view things on the Zeus Network. With 50 Cent put it up on his Instagram page, and he promoted the trailer where you look at it from the other side of it on the marketing side, but he knows it plays back into the doc that he just dropped as well with the record, and he put it up and said, wow, I want to see this show. I'm not sure this was a good idea. And he tagged at 50 Cent Action, letting it be known that this is really promo.
Janice Combs is no longer a footnote. She's now front and center. And whether you believe every allegation or remain skeptical, one thing is clear. this family appears determined to keep the next chapter tightly controlled. So make sure you're subscribed, because when season 2 drops, every revelation has the potential to turn this story upside down. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single moment.